Talk about those first few years, though.
Yeah.
Because, again, you're undrafted at that time. Were you discouraged at all when you were undrafted?
No, because like I said, I mean, undrafted. I went there, they gave me per diem, like 200 bucks a day or whatever it was, and washing your clothes for you. When you need a drink of water, they give you the water. Like, to me, it was like coming from Maine. I wasn't discouraged because I didn't have any expectation. Honestly, I just wasn't prepared for it. I just didn't expect it. If you go to BC or Tennessee, right, there's an expectation like, okay, that's a goal and maybe you prepare a different way. So I thought it was just all like gravy. I'm like, if I can get through a couple mini camps, I'd be proud of myself. I didn't have a lot of confidence, but not confidence in myself, but confidence that I would get much further than that. But it was a stuff that first year. It's a numbers game and you're like, all right, they're going to take 10 linemen and you're like, oh, I'm like number 8 here. This and that. I think I can make the team. And then the last day of cuts, I get cut. They cut 4 linemen, trade 3 linemen, just bring 4 new guys in. So you're just like, wait a minute, I was one of the 10 best, but you just got rid of 6 guys and brought in 6 new guys. So that's how it works. So you learn another lesson, right? You're really not competing against teams or players in your group. You're competing against guys in 30 other teams. So that first year was tough. Went down to Tampa for a week on the practice squad and worked out because the O-line coach down at Tampa ended up being my line coach eventually in Baltimore for quite a few years. And he kind of helped me stick around for a few more years. So it's like weird how all these I get cut, I'm only on Tampa for a week, but in that week, like, we had a really good relationship because we got to let you go because we need a different position on our practice squad, but I think you got a future in this league. And home load, 7 years later, he's my coach for 4 years, And then I was out of football for a little bit. And that's where you get to that crossroads, It's like, okay, is it over? What do I do? And I made a decision, listen, I'm going to see this out through a year, that go through the year, get into a camp another year, and then if it doesn't work out, it'd be over. So I went back up to Maine because I knew hanging around home wasn't going to work for me. So I went up in Maine. I worked with a strength coach up there. I lived in my buddy's basement, like literally on a mattress in the basement, but it was an unfinished basement for about 6 or 7 weeks working out. I helped the team a little bit. Everybody's like, why are you back? Swallow a little pride. Hey, you got cut. But I knew for me, it was okay, right? That's where I needed to be. Because if I was home and just hung out, I wouldn't do what I needed to do. And after that window, Jacksonville called and wanted me on their practice squad. And it was great. It was great to go down there. I was there for a lot of the season on the practice squad. Coach Coughlin was down there, and it was tough. I mean, he was a tough coach. And the practices, like, those guys were like, miserable. Like, they were miserable when they lost, they were miserable when they were won. But they were a good coach and they were such a standard he set. And then they had a lot of really good players. They had a great run when Tom Coughlin was there and eventually what he did with the Giants, right? But it was a really good experience for a lot of reasons. I didn't particularly like Jacksonville much, but I was there and was around really good football players. Mark Brunell, like some of the best linemen, Tony Baselli, a Hall of Fame lineman, Mike Mazer, who coached at BC, a great O-line coach, like old school, hard knocks, dip, all over his teeth, spitting on you type guy. This guy, Brian DeMarco from Michigan State, just a bit, like real tough guys. And I learned a lot from them. And then eventually it worked out. Kurt called me up and like, hey, we want to bring you back to our roster where they can sign you from a practice squad. And I always wanted to go back to Baltimore because I really love the guys there and I love the coach. And my agent called like, listen, Jacksonville really likes you. Why don't we get some money? I said, no, I want to go. So So should I tell Coach Coughlin? Like, no way. I'm scared of him. Don't tell Coach Coughlin. So I decided, took all my stuff. I was going to leave. Well, Baltimore was playing Jacksonville that week. You have to do it within like 36 hours of when you play that team that week, and we missed the cutoff. So I had to go back, knowing that I was going to the Ravens like as soon as that game was over.
Really?
So I had to practice there the whole week, and I was, oh man, you want to talk about, I was like a 22-year-old kid scared that they knew I was leaving. But my agent never said anything to him because I just didn't want to be there. It wasn't personal, I loved Baltimore a lot. It wasn't for me. I didn't like where I was. So the whole week I was like, pins and needles, and I took all my stuff. And after the game, I was going through the hitch, like all the guys, hey, see you tomorrow, see you tomorrow, see you tomorrow. It's like, shh. So I ended up like the next day, I was out of there. And Jacksonville was not happy. It's like, why would he leave? Baltimore's not good. But it was fine, right? They cared, but they didn't care. But I ended up going to Baltimore last 3 weeks of the season on the roster, and then I was there the rest of my career. Yeah. It worked out. I've just been lucky. I could have stayed at Jacksonville. Jacksonville, I think the next year was 14-2, AFC Championship. They're a competitor for years after that. But I just, I've been lucky with just kind of having an instinct of where to go, what's the right coach. That's, when people ask, what is it? I go, there's luck involved, and that's it, right?